The surrender of Emperor Vorthak sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, but humanity was not finished. The attack on Earth had awakened something that could not be easily put back to sleep. In the war room beneath Geneva, Prime Minister Li In-ho stood before a holographic map that showed the entire Vorthak Imperium. Red dots marked their military bases, industrial centers, and colonial worlds scattered across dozens of star systems. "They came to our home to destroy our families," he said to the assembled military commanders. "They killed civilians at Kepler Station and tried to enslave our entire species. A simple surrender is not enough." General Nam Giseok studied the tactical displays. "Mr. Prime Minister, we have their entire fleet captured or destroyed. Their military power is broken. What more do you want us to do? I want to send a message that will echo through the galaxy for 1,000 years. No alien empire will ever again look at humanity and see easy prey." Admiral Seo Kyung-min stepped forward. "Sir, are you authorizing offensive operations against Vorthak territory?" "I am authorizing whatever is necessary to ensure this never happens again." The decision was made. Humanity would take the war to the enemy's home. Commander Ro Se-jin received her orders while her strike fleet was still in the outer solar system. She commanded the newest and most advanced ships in the human arsenal, vessels that had been designed not for defense but for projecting power across interstellar distances. "Ma'am," her tactical officer reported, "we have complete intelligence on Vorthak military installations. The captured databases from their fleet are extremely detailed." Ro Se-jin studied the information. The Vorthak Imperium controlled 40 star systems, but their military was concentrated in just a few key locations. Strike those installations, and their ability to wage war would be crippled forever. Plot courses for simultaneous strikes on all primary targets. I want every major Vorthak military base hit at the same time. "Yes, ma'am. What about their civilian populations?" "Our target is their military capability, not their people. We're going to teach them the difference between conquest and justice." The human strike fleets launched from Earth with a precision that amazed even veteran military observers. Ships that had been hidden in the outer solar system for decades revealed their true capabilities as they jumped to hyperspace. But the most important part of the operation was not the new ships or advanced weapons. It was the coordination provided by veterans who had spent their lives learning how to wage war more effectively than any other species in the galaxy. At Kepler Station, Park Tae-ho and his fellow retirees monitored the offensive operations from their tactical center. They had helped plan every aspect of the strikes using experience gained from wars the Vorthak could not imagine. "The first wave should be reaching their targets about now," Kim So-ra reported from her position at the communication console. On the main screen, reports began coming in from across Vorthak space. Human ships appeared simultaneously at military installations throughout their empire, striking with surgical precision. At the Vorthak Naval Academy on their core world, Commodore Zexrand was training the next generation of alien officers when alarms began screaming throughout the facility. He ran to the tactical center and stared in disbelief at what the sensors showed. Human warships had appeared in orbit around his world, but they were not attacking the planet itself. They were systematically destroying every military satellite, weapon platform, and orbital defense station, while leaving civilian facilities completely untouched. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "No enemy fleet has ever penetrated this deep into Imperium space." His aide looked at the tactical display with growing understanding. "Sir, these are not invasion fleets. These are surgical strike forces. They know exactly where all our military assets are located." The same scene played out across dozens of Vorthak worlds. Human forces appeared without warning, destroyed military targets with devastating efficiency, then disappeared before local defenses could respond effectively. The strikes were so precisely coordinated that within 6 hours, the Vorthak Imperium's entire military infrastructure was either destroyed or crippled. Their shipyards were burning ruins. Their weapon manufacturing centers were twisted metal. Their training facilities were empty shells, but the humans were not done. Commander Ro Se-jin's flagship dropped out of hyperspace directly above the Vorthak homeworld, accompanied by a small fleet of escort vessels. The planet's remaining defenders prepared for orbital bombardment, expecting the humans to glass their world from space as the Vorthak themselves would have done. Instead, Rosijin opened communication channels to the planet's surface. People of the Vorthak Imperium, this is Commander Rosijin of the Terran Defense Force. Your military forces attacked our civilian colonies and threatened to destroy our homeworld. Your emperor declared war on humanity and promised to enslave our people. On the surface, billions of aliens listened to the human commander's words with growing fear. Today, we have demonstrated what happens when you threaten human civilians. Every military installation in your empire has been destroyed or captured. Your ability to wage war has been eliminated. In the ruins of the Imperial Palace, the few surviving Vorthak officials waited for the death they expected would come next. But we are not you, Commander Ro continued. We do not make war on civilians. We do not destroy worlds for the pleasure of conquest. We fight only to protect our people and ensure our security. The communication paused, and across the Vorthak homeworld people held their breath. Therefore, we offer you terms. Your military forces will be disbanded. Your weapons of mass destruction will be destroyed under human supervision. You will pay reparations to the families of the civilians you killed at Kepler Station. In exchange, your people will be allowed to live in peace. The aliens could barely believe what they were hearing. In their experience, victorious enemies always enslaved or destroyed the conquered. The concept of mercy after total victory was completely foreign to them. You have 72 hours to consider our terms, Commander Ro concluded. If you refuse, we will withdraw and leave you to rebuild your military as you see fit. But understand this. If you ever again threaten human civilians, we will return. And next time, we will not be so generous. The human fleet departed as suddenly as it had arrived, leaving the Vorthak to contemplate their new reality. On Kepler Station, Park Tae-ho walked through the agricultural domes where Kim So-ra was tending to her plants. The tomatoes were growing well, and the children of the station would have fresh vegetables with their dinner. So, she said without looking up from her work, do you think they learned their lesson? Park Tae-ho considered the question while watching the sunset through the dome's transparent walls. I think they learned that attacking human civilians is a mistake they will never make again. And what about the rest of the galaxy? Do you think other species got the message? Oh, I'm sure they did. Word travels fast among the starfaring civilizations. By now, every alien government knows what happened to the Vorthak Imperium. Kim So-ra finally looked up from her plants. Good. Maybe now we can go back to retirement. But even as they spoke, messages were being transmitted across the galaxy. Alien governments that had been considering expansion into human space quietly abandoned their plans. Species that had viewed humanity as primitive newcomers began to reassess their opinions. The story of Kepler Station became legend. A retirement community of human veterans attacked by overwhelming alien forces had not only survived but had triggered a war that reshaped the balance of power in their region of the galaxy. Other species began to understand something about humanity that they had missed before. These were not just another spacefaring civilization. They were the children of a world where everything was trying to kill them, and they had survived by becoming more dangerous than any natural predator. More importantly, they learned that humanity's greatest warriors did not boast about their capabilities or threaten their neighbors. They quietly retired to peaceful colonies where they grew food and raised families. But when someone threatened those families, the galaxy learned why Earth was called a death world. In the end, the Vorthak Imperium accepted humanity's terms. They had no choice. Their military was destroyed, their empire was shattered, and they had learned that some species were too dangerous to conquer. The reparation ceremonies were held on Kepler Station, in the same agricultural dome where Kim So-ra grew her tomatoes. Representatives from across the galaxy came to witness the signing of the treaty that ended the war. Park Tae-ho, dressed in the simple clothes of a colony administrator, accepted the formal apology from what remained of the Vorthak government, but his words were directed at all the alien representatives present. We came to the stars seeking peace, he said. We built colonies to escape the wars we had fought on Earth. We wanted to grow food, mine asteroids, and live quiet lives with our families. The assembled aliens listened with careful attention. But we learned something during this conflict. Peace is not the absence of the capacity for war. Peace is what you have when everyone understands the cost of breaking it. He gestured toward the other humans in the room, veterans who had disguised themselves as farmers, miners, teachers, and mechanics. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the smart Emperor Vorthak. The destroyer sat on his throne of carved bone, listening to the reports from the battle at Kepler Station. His massive form shook with rage as Admiral Korthax explained how 3 fleets had been defeated by human farmers and miners. "Impossible," the Emperor roared. "No species has ever defeated the Imperium's battle fleets. You must have made tactical errors." "Your Majesty," Admiral Korthax said carefully, "these were not ordinary humans. They fought with weapons and tactics we have never encountered. Their entire colony was a hidden military base." The Emperor's claws scratched deep grooves in the arms of his throne. The Vorthak Imperium had conquered 40 star systems over the past 2 centuries. They were the most feared military force in their region of the galaxy. The idea that humans, weak, soft creatures from a single world, could defeat them was unacceptable. "Then we will show them the true power of the Imperium," he declared. "Summon all fleet commanders. We will gather our entire military force and destroy their home world. When Earth burns, every human in the galaxy will surrender." His advisors looked at each other nervously. "Your Majesty," one of them said, "perhaps we should attempt negotiation first. If these humans are more dangerous than we thought—" "Silence." The Emperor struck down the advisor with one massive claw. "The Vorthak Imperium does not negotiate with inferior species. We will destroy Earth and enslave any humans who survive. Then every species in the galaxy will remember why they fear us." The order went out across the Imperium. Over 1,000 warships began moving toward human space. It was the largest military force ever assembled by any alien empire. On Earth, in the emergency session room deep under Geneva, Prime Minister Lee In-ho received the intelligence reports with growing concern. "How long before they reach our solar system?" he asked. General Nam Giseok studied the tactical displays. 6 days, maybe 7. Our scouts report the entire Vorthak military is moving together. They're not taking any chances this time. What are our defensive capabilities? Admiral Oh Dong-hyun, who had returned from Kepler Station, spoke from his position at the war table. "The home fleet has 200 ships ready for immediate deployment. We can call in colonial militias and merchant marine vessels, but we'll still be outnumbered at least 3 to 1. The Prime Minister stood and walked to the large window that looked out over the underground command center. Hundreds of military personnel worked at stations that coordinated humanity's defenses across dozens of star systems. "General Nam, I need you to activate the Cerberus protocols." The room went completely silent. Everyone present knew what that meant, but nobody had expected to hear those words spoken. "Sir," General Nam said quietly, "the Cerberus protocols have been classified for 30 years. Most of our current military leadership doesn't even know they exist." "Then it's time to tell them." "How long to full activation?" 48 hours, for the first phase. Complete deployment will take about a week. We have 6 days, make it work." Admiral Seo Kyung-min, who commanded the Deep Space Research Division, received orders that she had hoped would never come. For 20 years, she had supervised projects that officially did not exist. Ships built in hidden asteroid facilities. Weapons that violated multiple treaties. Soldiers trained for scenarios too terrible to discuss in public. Now those projects were being activated. "Ma'am," her aide reported, "we have confirmation from all hidden installations. The ghost fleets are ready for deployment." Admiral Seo studied the reports on her secure tablet. Humanity had learned hard lessons from their early wars. They had prepared for the possibility that someday they might face an enemy too large for conventional military forces to handle. "Signal all commands. Operation Cerberus is now active." In hidden bases throughout the solar system, weapon systems that had been sleeping for decades came online. Ships that existed in no official records powered up their engines. Soldiers who had volunteered for assignments their families could never know about, prepared for their final mission. The Vorthak fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system like a swarm of metal locusts. Emperor Vorthak himself commanded from his massive flagship, a vessel the size of a small moon. "There," he said, pointing at the small blue world that hung in the darkness ahead. "There is the human homeworld. We will make an example of it that the galaxy will never forget." His tactical officers began scanning the system. "Your Majesty, we detect approximately 300 human ships moving to intercept us." The Emperor laughed. 300 against 1,000? This will be easier than I expected. But as the Vorthak fleet moved deeper into the system, things began to happen that their sensors could not explain. Ships appeared out of nowhere, as if they had been hiding inside asteroids or behind moons. The human forces seemed to be growing, instead of shrinking as the battle approached. Admiral O commanded the visible fleet from his flagship, but he was not in overall command of Earth's defense. That responsibility belonged to someone the aliens had not detected. Deep inside the moon, in chambers that officially did not exist, Admiral Seo Kyung-min coordinated the greatest military operation in human history. Phase 1 assets are in position, reported Captain Lim Woo-jin from his stealth command ship. The enemy fleet is committed to their attack vector. Phase 2 assets standing by, confirmed Colonel Park Hae-young from the asteroid belt. Hidden weapon platforms are charged and ready. Admiral Seo watched the tactical displays that showed the true scale of humanity's defenses. The 300 ships the aliens could see were just the beginning. All units, this is control. Commence Operation Cerberus. What happened next would be studied in military academies for centuries. The Vorthak fleet suddenly found itself surrounded by enemies that had not been there moments before. Ships emerged from stealth systems so advanced that they seemed to materialize from empty space. Weapon platforms hidden throughout the solar system opened fire simultaneously. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. Jupiter, humanity's largest planet, began to change. What the aliens had assumed was a natural gas giant revealed massive artificial structures hidden in its atmosphere. Weapons the size of cities rose from the planet's clouds and locked onto the alien fleet. "Impossible," Emperor Vorthak breathed. "How long have you been preparing for this?" Admiral O's voice came over the communication channels. "About 50 years, Your Majesty. Ever since we first learned there were hostile aliens in the galaxy. The battle for Earth was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The humans did not just defend their homeworld. They turned their entire solar system into a weapon. Every moon, every asteroid, every seemingly empty region of space concealed military installations that had been built in secret over decades. The Vorthak fleet, despite its overwhelming size, found itself outgunned and outmaneuvered at every turn. Their ships were designed to conquer worlds defended by conventional forces. They were not prepared for a species that had spent half a century turning their home system into the ultimate fortress. Emperor Vorthak watched in growing horror as his mighty fleet was systematically destroyed. These humans did not fight like any species he had encountered. They fought as if they expected to face impossible odds and had prepared accordingly. "Your Majesty," his tactical officer reported, "we've lost 60% of our fleet. Recommend immediate withdrawal." "No!" The Emperor's rage was overwhelming. "We are the Vorthak Imperium. We do not retreat from inferior species." That was when Admiral Seo revealed the final phase of humanity's defense. Hidden deep in the outer solar system, construction facilities that had been building in secret for 30 years launched their products. Ships emerged from behind distant planets, vessels larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were not just warships but mobile fortresses, each one capable of destroying entire fleets. "Emperor Vorthak," Admiral Seo's voice came over all communication channels. "This is Admiral Seo Kyung-min of the Terra Defense Force. You came to our home to destroy our world and enslave our people. You have learned that humanity does not make easy prey." The alien emperor stared at the massive human ships approaching his position. His fleet was broken. His invasion had failed. and his empire's reputation for invincibility was shattered. But I want you to understand something, Admiral Seo continued. Everything you have seen today is just our defensive capability. What we have shown you is what we built to protect our home. You have not yet seen what we built to destroy our enemies. As if summoned by her words, sensors throughout the solar system detected new contacts. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace. Not just dozens or hundreds, but thousands of them. They came from directions the Vorthak had not expected, using jump points that should not have existed. The human colonial defense forces, Admiral Seo explained, have been mobilizing since you began this attack. Every human world, every colony, every mining station is sending ships to defend Earth. But more importantly, you have awakened something that should have stayed sleeping. Emperor Vorthak felt fear for the first time in his life as he watched human reinforcements continue to The 3 Vorthak battle fleets dropped out of hyperspace like hungry sharks sensing blood in the water. Admiral Korthax commanded over 300 ships, the largest force the Vorthak Imperium had ever assembled for a single operation. He expected to find the remnants of Commander Vextal's fleet finishing the conquest of a simple human mining colony. Instead, his sensors showed debris floating in space and a single damaged command ship broadcasting surrender signals. "What happened here?" he demanded. Commander Vextal's face appeared on the communication screen. The alien looked beaten and exhausted. Behind him, the bridge of his ship was a mess of broken equipment and medical stations treating wounded crew members. "Admiral, the humans, they were not what we expected." "You were defeated by farmers and miners?" "No, sir. We were defeated by soldiers, very dangerous soldiers who were pretending to be farmers and miners." Admiral Korthax studied the tactical displays. The human station was still there, apparently undamaged. The asteroid field around it showed unusual energy readings, but his analysts assured him those were just mining equipment. "One small station cannot stand against 3 fleets. We will end this quickly." But as the Vorthak ships moved into attack formation, new contacts appeared on their sensors. Human ships were dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Admiral Oh Donghyun's flagship emerged from the hyperspace jump with weapons already charged. Behind him came the entire Third Fleet, 60 of humanity's most advanced warships. "Admiral," his communication officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from Kepler Station." Park Tae-ho appeared on the main screen. He looked tired, but determined. "Admiral Oh, good to see you." "Hello, Tae-ho, sorry we're late. What's the situation?" "We have it under control for now. 3 Vorthak fleets just arrived, but I think we can handle them." Admiral O looked at his tactical display. 300 enemy ships against our 60. Those aren't good odds. Park Tae-ho smiled. "Don't worry, we have some advantages they don't know about." As if summoned by his words, more human ships appeared. Captain Kang Subin's Wraith Squadron materialized out of nowhere, their advanced stealth systems hiding them until the last moment. The experimental ships were smaller than traditional warships but carried weapons that most aliens had never seen. "Wraith leader to all units," Captain Kang's voice came over the communication channels. "We have enemy targets locked, ready for coordinated strike." Colonel Yu Ji Hai's voice joined the conversation from her assault ship. "Void Rangers are in position, ready for boarding operations if needed." Admiral Korthax watched with growing concern as more human ships continued to arrive. His fleet was still larger, but these humans seemed unusually well coordinated and confident. "Human, Admiral," he broadcast on open channels. "I am Admiral Korthax of the Vorthak Imperium. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick." Admiral O's response was calm and professional. "Admiral Korthax, this is Admiral Oh Dong-hyun of the Terra Defense Force. You have attacked a human civilian colony and killed innocent people. Surrender now and we will consider letting you live." The alien admiral's laugh was harsh. "Foolish humans. You are outnumbered 5 to 1. Your small fleet cannot stand against the might of the Imperium." "Actually," Park Tae-ho interjected from Kepler Station, "the numbers might be a bit different than you think." The asteroids around the station suddenly lit up with targeting systems. Thousands of hidden weapons platforms came online, all focused on the Vorthak fleet. But this was just the beginning. Throughout the system, objects that had seemed like normal space debris began to move. What Admiral Korthax had dismissed as destroyed ships or natural asteroids revealed themselves to be hidden human installations. Mining platforms activated weapon systems that should not have existed. Automated defense stations that had been disguised as communication relays opened fire. Park Ji-won's voice came over the tactical channel. 5 years of preparation, Admiral. Every piece of junk in this system has been converted into a weapon. The space battle that followed became the stuff of legend. The Vorthak ships were powerful and well-armored, but they were designed to fight other ships in open space. They were not prepared for a coordinated assault by thousands of hidden weapons platforms, advanced human warships, and tactics that seemed to ignore all conventional military doctrine. Captain Kang Subin's Wraith Squadron struck first, using their stealth capabilities to get close to the enemy command ships. Their exotic weapons cut through alien shields like they were made of paper. Wraith 2 to Wraith Leader, came the excited voice of Lieutenant Ryu Sang-wook. Their shields can't adapt to our quantum disruptors. These weapons are incredible. Stay focused, Sang-wook. Take out their communication arrays. The Vorthak fleet tried to respond, but their formation was broken by the sudden assault. Admiral Korthax attempted to regroup his ships, but the human attack came from all directions at once. Admiral O coordinated the conventional fleet elements with the skill that had made him famous throughout human space. His ships moved in patterns that confused the alien tactical computers. They struck hard, then disappeared behind the asteroid field before the enemy could respond effectively. Fleet elements, execute pattern Delta 7, he ordered. Use the asteroids for cover and maintain rolling fire patterns. Colonel Yu Ji-hai saw her opportunity when several alien ships became separated from the main fleet. Void Rangers, we have isolated targets. Commence boarding operations. Her specialized assault ships moved like sharks through the battle zone. The Void Rangers were trained for zero-gravity combat in the vacuum of space. They cut through alien hulls and captured enemy ships from the inside. Ma'am, reported Sergeant Kim Tae-sung from inside a captured Vorthak cruiser. These aliens have never faced boarding actions before. Their internal defenses are designed for their own species. They don't know how to fight humans in close quarters. The tide of battle turned quickly. The Vorthak ships were individually powerful, but they were not prepared for the kind of warfare the humans brought to the fight. Every advantage they thought they had, superior numbers, heavier weapons, stronger shields, was countered by human tactics they had never encountered. Admiral Korthax watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. These humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. They used weapons that bypassed conventional defenses. They attacked from directions that should have been impossible. They seemed to anticipate every move his ships made. How are they doing this? He demanded of his tactical officer. Unknown, sir. Their ships are smaller than ours, but their weapons are more advanced. And those asteroids, every piece of rock in this system is armed. A new voice cut through the communication channels. It was Song Ha-na, speaking from Kepler Station's tactical center. Admiral Korthax, this is Commander Song Ha-na. I wanted you to understand what you're facing. The humans you're fighting are not regular soldiers. Admiral O led the defense of Earth during the Centauri Wars. Captain Kang developed the stealth technology that ended the android rebellion. Colonel Yu's Void Rangers stopped the Titan separatists when everyone else said it was impossible. The alien admiral felt a chill run through his body. And the people on this station? We're the ones who trained them. We're the veterans who survived wars you've never heard of. We came here to retire, to live peacefully and never fight again. An explosion on Admiral Korthax's bridge threw him to the floor. One of the stealth ships had gotten past his defenses and hit his command center directly. Song Ha-na continued speaking as alien ships burned around the station. You made one crucial mistake, Admiral. You assumed we were weak because we chose peace. You forgot that sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones who know exactly how terrible war can be. Admiral Korthax struggled to his feet and looked at his tactical displays. Half his fleet was destroyed or captured. The survivors were scattered and demoralized. Sir? His communication officer called out. The humans are offering terms for surrender. The alien admiral looked around his burning bridge. He had come here with 300 ships to crush a mining colony. Now he was about to surrender to farmers and retirees. What are their terms? Admiral O's voice came over the communication system. Full surrender of all remaining ships. Crew members will be treated according to galactic conventions. Officers will be held for war crimes trials. Admiral Korthax closed his eyes. He had been outfought, outmaneuvered, and completely outclassed by an enemy he had underestimated. I accept your terms. Wise choice, Admiral. As the Vorthak ships powered down their weapons and prepared for boarding, Park Tae-ho spoke to his old military friends over the tactical channels. Well, that was exciting. How long has it been since we worked together like that? Admiral O chuckled. Too long, old friend. But we haven't lost our touch. No, Kim So-ra added from the agricultural section where she was tending to wounded soldiers. But I still prefer growing tomatoes. Captain Kang Subin's voice was thoughtful. Admiral, we captured a lot of their databases during the boarding operations. The Vorthak Imperium is bigger than we thought. This was just a small part of their military. How big? Admiral O asked. Over 1,000 ships spread across dozens of star systems. The communication channel went quiet for a moment. Well, Park Tae-ho said finally, I suppose we'll have to send them a message they'll understand. The message traveled through space faster than light, carried by quantum transmitters that few people knew existed. The garden has been disturbed. 4 simple words that would change everything. On Earth, in the deep underground chambers of Terra Command, General Nam Gi-seok was reviewing routine reports when his personal communication device began to flash red. He looked at the small screen and felt his blood turn to ice. The message was coded with the highest possible priority. Only 12 people in human space knew what those words really meant. General Nam was one of them. He stood up so quickly that his chair fell over. His aide looked up in surprise. Sir, is something wrong? General Nam was already moving toward the door. Cancel all my meetings. Get me Admiral O and Colonel Yu immediately, and wake up the Prime Minister. Sir, it's 3 in the morning and I don't care what time it is. The general's voice carried an edge his aide had never heard before. Tell them code black. Tell them the garden is disturbed. The aide's face went pale. Even junior officers knew that code black meant the worst possible scenario. Within 30 minutes, the most powerful people in human space were gathered in the secure briefing room. General Nam stood before a large screen showing the location of Kepler Station. Ladies and gentlemen, an hour ago we received a Priority 1 message from Kepler Station. They are under attack by an unknown alien force. Admiral Oh Dong-hyun, commander of the Home Fleet, leaned forward. Kepler Station? That's just a mining colony. Why is this code black? General Nam pressed a button and files appeared on the screen. Lists of names, military records, classified operations from wars most people had forgotten. Because Kepler Station is not just a mining colony. It's where we sent our most decorated veterans when they retired, our most dangerous soldiers, our most successful killers. The room went silent. Colonel Yu Ji-hai, leader of the Void Rangers, studied the files with growing understanding. My God, Park Tae-ho is there? The Admiral Park Tae-ho? Yes, along with Sniper Kim So-ra, demolitions expert Bae Min-ho, and about 50,000 other veterans of our worst wars. Prime Minister Lee In-ho spoke for the first time. How many ships do we have ready for immediate deployment? The third. Fleet can be ready in 6 hours, Admiral O replied, but it will take 3 days to reach Kepler Station. Too slow. The Prime Minister turned to General Nam. What are our other options? Captain Kang Subin's Wraith Squadron is conducting exercises near the Outer Rim. They could reach Kepler in 18 hours. Send them, and send word to all fleet commanders. I want every available ship moving toward Kepler Station within 12 hours. At Kepler Station, the situation had changed dramatically. The alien soldiers who had landed expecting easy conquest were now trapped inside a station that had become their prison. Jung So-young walked calmly through the corridors, stepping over the bodies of alien soldiers, She had been introduced to visitors as the station librarian, a quiet woman who helped people find books and manage the educational databases. That was partially true. She did manage databases. But the information she specialized in was not about books. She found 3 wounded alien soldiers hiding in a storage room. They looked up at her with fear in their eyes, seeing a small human woman with kind features. "Please," one of them said in broken human language, "we surrender." Jung So-young smiled gently. "Of course. I just need to ask you a few questions first." What happened next would have surprised anyone who thought she was just a librarian. Jung So-young had spent 20 years extracting information from people who did not want to give it. She was very good at her job. An hour later, she walked into the station's command center where Park Tae-ho and the other leaders had gathered. "I have good news and bad news," she announced. "The good news is that I know everything about their fleet, their weapons, and their plans." "What's the bad news?" Park Tae-ho asked. "This is just the beginning. The Vorthak Imperium has over 1,000 ships. They see us as a minor problem to be solved quickly." Kim So-ra looked up from the tactical display she was studying. "How long before they send reinforcements?" "According to the prisoners, 3 battle fleets are already on their way. They will arrive in about 6 hours. Park Ji-won, who managed the station's technical systems, spoke up from his position at the engineering controls. 6 hours should be enough." "Enough for what?" Park Tae-ho asked. Park Ji-won smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "The asteroid field around this station has been my hobby project for the last 5 years. I've been very busy." He pressed several buttons, and the main screen changed to show the space around Kepler Station. What looked like normal asteroids began to glow with soft lights. Each of those asteroids has been fitted with military-grade weapon systems. The mining charges we use for excavation make excellent mines when properly modified. The metal refining equipment can be converted into mass drivers with a few adjustments. The people in the command center stared at the screen. The asteroid field had been turned into a massive weapons platform. "How many?" Kim So-ra asked quietly. 3,000 asteroids, each one armed and connected to our fire control system. Lee Han-sol whistled softly. "The aliens are going to get a surprise." On the Vorthak command ship, Commander Vextal was trying to understand what had gone wrong. His ground forces had stopped reporting in. The mining station should have been conquered by now. "Sir," his communication officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the human station." "Put it through." Park Tae-ho's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm and professional, like a business manager giving a routine report. "Commander Vextal, I wanted to update you on the situation. Your ground forces have been neutralized. Your soldiers are either dead or captured. I am prepared to discuss terms for their return." Vextal's claws extended in rage. "You dare threaten me, human? I have 12 battleships. Your pathetic station has no weapons." "Actually, that's not quite accurate." Park Tae-ho touched something, off-screen, and the view changed to show the space around the station. What you see as a simple asteroid field is actually a rather sophisticated defensive system. On Vextal's screen, targeting systems began to lock onto his ships. Hundreds of weapons that had been hidden among the asteroids came online. His tactical officer's voice was filled with panic. "Sir, we're being targeted by over 2,000 weapon systems. They're everywhere." Commander Vextal stared at the screen in disbelief. "Impossible. You are miners and farmers." Park Tae-ho's expression did not change. "We were miners and farmers, Commander. But before that, we were soldiers. Before we grew food and dug metals from rocks, we fought in wars that would give your people nightmares." The alien commander's voice shook with rage. "You think your hidden weapons can stop the might of the Vorthak Imperium? 3 of our battle fleets are coming. You will be crushed. Perhaps. But your 12 ships will not see that happen." The asteroids around Kepler Station opened fire. The battle was brief and decisive. The Vorthak ships were designed to fight. Other spacecraft, not thousands of hidden weapons platforms. Their shields held for a few minutes before being overwhelmed by the concentrated firepower. When the shooting stopped, 11 of the 12 alien ships were destroyed. Only Commander Vextal's flagship remained, badly damaged and helpless. Park, Tejo's voice came over the communication system again. "Commander, you now have a choice. You can surrender and live, or you can die with your ship. I recommend surrender." Vextal looked around his burning bridge. Half his crew was dead. The other half was injured. His weapons were destroyed and his engines were failing. I surrender." "Excellent. Please prepare to be boarded. And Commander, the reinforcements you mentioned? They might want to reconsider their approach. What happened to your fleet is just a preview of what's coming." In the depths of space, human warships began to move. The message from Kepler Station had awakened something that had been sleeping. The galaxy was about to learn why humans were called the children of a death world. Back on the station, Park Tejo turned to his friends and fellow veterans. They had hoped never to fight again, but the choice had been taken from them. "Well," Kim Sora said, "I guess retirement is over." Park Tejo nodded. "I suppose it is, but we'll finish this quickly and then maybe we can go back to growing tomatoes." Nobody mentioned that the Vorthak Imperium had 1,000 ships. They would deal with that problem when it arrived. For now, they had work to do. The Vorthak landing ships dropped from the sky like metal rain. They landed in the station's main bay with heavy thuds that shook the floors. Commander Vextal had sent 5,000 soldiers to take control of what he thought was a helpless mining colony. The alien warriors were tall and strong, covered in thick armor that gleamed under the station lights. They carried energy weapons that could cut through steel. They moved with the confidence of a people who had conquered many worlds. Captain Morthen led the first group into the station corridors. His soldiers spread out behind him, their weapons ready. They expected to find scared humans hiding in corners, begging for mercy. Instead, they found empty hallways. "Where are they?" one soldier asked. "Hiding like cowards," Morthen replied. "We will find them and make examples of the first ones we catch." They moved deeper into the station. The lights were still on, the air system still worked. But there were no people anywhere. It was like walking through a ghost ship. Behind them, more landing ships arrived. Soon, 3,000 alien soldiers were spread throughout Kepler Station, searching for the humans they expected to capture easily. They did not see Lee Hansol watching them from above. He lay flat against the ceiling in a maintenance space, looking down through a grating. His scarred hands held a weapon that looked nothing like mining equipment. He had taken it from a hidden storage room that most people on the station did not know existed. Hansol counted the soldiers below him. 12 aliens with heavy armor and big guns. He had fought worse odds before, in places whose names were still classified. He waited for the right moment. In another part of the station, Choi Yu-jin moved through the ventilation system like a shadow. She was small and quick, able to fit through spaces the big alien soldiers could never reach. In her hands, she carried devices that would have surprised anyone who thought she was just a mining coordinator. She reached a junction where 3 air ducts met. Below her, alien voices spoke in their harsh language. She looked through another grating and saw a group of soldiers setting up a command post in what used to be the station's cafeteria. Yu-jin smiled without warmth. She had destroyed command posts before. In the agricultural section, Kim Sora walked calmly between the rows of growing plants. The alien soldiers had not reached this area yet, but she could hear them coming. Her hands worked quickly among the tomato plants, but she was not tending to the vegetables. She was preparing. The garden tools around her looked normal, but Kim Sora had made some changes. The same hands that grew food had once held different kinds of equipment. Skills learned in war zones far from Earth came back to her like riding a bicycle. A group of alien soldiers burst through the doors of the agricultural dome. They saw a small human woman standing among the plants, dirt on her clothes and fear in her eyes. "Finally a human," their leader called out. "You will come with us and tell us where the others are hiding." Kim Sora looked up at them with wide, frightened eyes. "Please don't hurt me. I'm just a farmer. I don't know anything about fighting." The soldiers relaxed. This was what they had expected to find. They made a fatal mistake. As they got closer, Kim Sora's expression changed. The fear disappeared from her eyes, replaced by something cold and calculating. Her hands moved with speed the aliens could not follow. The first soldier fell before he understood what was happening. The second managed to raise his weapon before Kim Sora's modified garden tool found the weak spot in his armor. By the time the others realized they were not facing a helpless farmer, it was too late. Across the station, the same scene played out in different ways. Aliens who expected easy conquest found themselves facing something they had not prepared. For Bae Min-ho had been working in the machine shop when the landing ships arrived. The aliens burst in expecting to find a simple mechanic. Instead, they found that the mining equipment had been changed in ways they did not understand. What looked like a rock-cutting laser was now aimed at the door. What appeared to be a metal refining system had become something much more dangerous. Min-ho stood behind controls that seemed too complex for a simple repair worker. "Surrender, human," the lead alien shouted. "We know you are not a soldier." Min-ho looked at him with sad eyes. "You are right, I am not a soldier anymore. I retired from that life. I came here to fix machines and live in peace." He pressed a button on the control panel. "But I remember how to build things that break other things." The modified equipment activated. The aliens learned that human engineering could be very creative when properly motivated. In the station school, Song Hana had been teaching children about history when the attack began. She had moved the young ones to secure areas that the aliens could not find. Now she stood in the empty classroom, looking at tactical displays that rose from what had appeared to be simple teaching desks. The displays showed the positions of every alien soldier on the station. Red dots moved through corridors that Hana knew better than anyone. She had helped design the station's layout, though the aliens did not know that. Her fingers moved over controls that looked like educational equipment but served a very different purpose. Around the station, systems that had been hidden for years came online. Doors that seemed normal revealed their true nature. Walls that appeared solid opened to show weapons that should not have existed on a mining colony. Song Hana had once been called the Ghost of Proxima for her ability to coordinate complex military operations. She had hoped never to use those skills again. The aliens had made that impossible. Captain Morthen was beginning to understand that something was wrong. His soldiers were not reporting in. The humans they had found were not acting like the helpless civilians they were supposed to be. He tried to contact his ship, but the communications were being blocked. He tried to reach the other landing parties, but heard only silence. "Sir," one of his remaining soldiers said, "maybe we should go back to the ships." Before Morthen could answer, the lights in the corridor went out. Emergency lighting came on, casting everything in a red glow that made shadows dance on the walls. A voice spoke from speakers hidden in the walls. It was Park Tae-ho, but he sounded different now. His voice carried authority that made even alien soldiers pause. "Commander Vextal, I hope you can hear this. I want you to understand what is happening to your soldiers. They are learning that they made incorrect assumptions about the people who live here." On his ship, Commander Vextal listened with growing anger and confusion. His battle computers showed that the landing was not going according to plan. Park Tae-ho continued speaking. "We are not the simple farmers and miners you thought we were. This station is not just a colony. It is a place where old soldiers came to find peace. We are veterans, Commander. We are the ones who survived wars you have never heard of." In the corridor, Captain Morthen tried to understand what the human was saying. Veterans. But they looked so normal, so harmless. "My friend, Kim Sora once killed 47 enemy soldiers with a damaged rifle and 3 grenades. She holds the record for longest confirmed kill shot in human military history. She came here to grow tomatoes and forget about war." Morthen felt a chill run down his spine. Lee Hansol destroyed an entire enemy division by himself when his unit was wiped out on Titan. He came here to repair mining equipment and raise his children in peace. The alien captain looked around nervously. Where were these humans now? Choi Yu-jin infiltrated and destroyed a terrorist base that 3 armies could not touch. She came here to help coordinate mining schedules and live a quiet life. The emergency lights flickered, and Morthen realized he might not leave this station alive. Park Tae-ho's voice continued, calm but filled with steel. "We all came here for the same reason, Commander. We were tired of war. We wanted peace. wanted to live normal lives and never hurt anyone again. In the darkness of the corridor, shapes began to move. The remaining alien soldiers raised their weapons, but they could not see clear targets. You took that choice away from us when you killed our people. You made us remember who we used to be. The shapes in the darkness moved closer. Congratulations, Commander Vextal. You just declared war on the deadliest humans alive. The shooting started, but this time the aliens were not the hunters. The morning sun cast long shadows across Kepler Station as Park Tae-ho walked through the quiet corridors. He was a tall man with graying hair who moved with careful steps. The station was his home now, and he took care of it like a father watching over his children. Kepler Station sat alone in the dark space between stars. It was far from Earth, far from any other human world. 50,000 people lived here, working in the asteroid mines and growing food in the big glass domes. They were simple people living simple lives, or so it seemed. Park Tae-ho stopped at the main window and looked out at the spinning rocks in space. Mining ships moved between them like busy insects, cutting and pulling valuable metals from the stone. He smiled slightly. His people were good at their work. "Morning, Tae-ho," said a voice behind him. He turned to see Kim So-ra walking up with a cup of coffee in her hands. She was shorter than him, with kind eyes and soil under her fingernails, from working in the gardens. She ran all the food growing on the station and knew every plant by name. "Morning, So-ra. How are the crops today?" "Good. The tomatoes are almost ready. The children will be happy." She stood next to him and looked out the window. "Quiet out. There today?" "Yes. I like it quiet." They stood together in comfortable silence. Both of them were in their 50s now, and they had found peace in this quiet place. The station was their world, and they wanted nothing more than to keep it safe. That peace was about to end. A warning sound filled the air. Red lights began to flash on the walls. Park Tae-ho and Kim So-ra looked at each other with concern. "Sir," came a voice from the communication system, "we have ships coming in fast, big ones." Park Tae-ho moved quickly to the control room. Kim So-ra followed him. On the big screen they could see dark shapes moving toward them through space. The ships were huge, bigger than anything humans had built. They had sharp edges and glowing red lights. "How many?" Park Tae-ho asked. 12 battleships, sir. They're not human." The alien ships moved into position around Kepler Station. They pointed their weapons at the mining colony like hunters surrounding a helpless animal. Park Tae-ho felt a cold feeling in his stomach, but his face stayed calm. A new voice filled the air. It was deep and harsh, speaking human words with difficulty. "Human colony. This is Commander Vextal of the Vorthak Imperium. You will surrender now. Lower your defenses and prepare to be occupied." Park Tae-ho picked up the communication device. His voice was steady and polite. "This is Administrator Park Tae-ho of Kepler Station. We are peaceful miners and farmers. We have no defenses to lower. We wish no conflict with your people." There was a pause. Then the alien voice spoke again, with what sounded like laughter. "Peaceful? You humans are weak creatures. Your small ships, your soft bodies. We have conquered 100 worlds. You will obey or you will die." Around the control room, other station workers had gathered. They looked scared, but they stayed quiet. These were people who had lived through hard times before. They knew how to stay calm when danger came. Lee Han-sol stood near the back of the room. He was a big man with scarred hands who worked in the mining equipment repair shop. His dark eyes watched the alien ships on the screen with careful attention. Next to him was Choi Yu-jin, a woman who helped coordinate the mining schedules. She had short black hair and moved with quick, precise steps. Her face showed no fear, only cold calculation. "Commander Vextal," Park Tae-ho said into the communication device. "We have families here, children, old people. We are not soldiers. Please let us talk about this." "Talk?" The alien voice was angry now. "There is nothing to talk about. You, humans, think you can spread through our space like insects. We will show you what happens to insects." One of the alien ships turned its guns toward a small transport ship that was returning from the asteroid fields. The transport carried 2 100 miners coming home from their work shift. "No, wait!" Park Tae-ho shouted. The alien ship fired. A beam of red energy cut through space and hit the transport. The small ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. 200 people died in an instant. The control room went completely quiet. On the screen, pieces of the destroyed ship drifted, slowly through space. These were people everyone knew. Friends, family members, neighbors who would never come home. Park Tae-ho closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, something had changed. The kindly administrator was still there, but something else looked out through his eyes, something cold and dangerous. Kim So-ra put her hand on his shoulder. She squeezed gently and he knew she understood. Around the room, the other workers had changed too. Lee Han-sol's scarred hands had closed into fists. Choi Yoo-jin's face had become a mask of stone. "You just made a mistake," Park Tae-ho said quietly into the communication device. The alien commander laughed. "Mistake? What can you farmers do to us? We have battleships, we have warriors, you have nothing." Park Tae-ho walked to a control panel on the wall. It looked like any other panel, but he pressed his palm against a hidden scanner. A green light flashed, and a section of the wall slid away. Inside was a communication system that looked very different from the simple equipment the colony normally used. He picked up a special device and spoke a single sentence. "The garden has been disturbed." The message went out through space faster than light, carried by a system the aliens had not detected. It would reach Earth in hours. It would reach the other human worlds even faster. Commander Vextal's voice came again. "What was that, human? Are you calling for help? Your military is weak, your ships are slow, help will not come in time." Park Tae-ho put down the device and turned to face the people in the control room. They were all looking at him with understanding in their eyes. "So-ra, please ask Bae Min-ho to check the mining equipment. Tell him we might need some modifications." Kim So-ra nodded. She understood what he really meant. "Han-sol, Yoo-jin, could you please look at our security systems? We might need to make some changes." The two workers nodded and left the room quickly. "Commander Vextal," Park Tae-ho said into the communication device. "I need to correct something. I said earlier, we are not just miners and farmers. We were miners and farmers, but before that we were something else." "What are you talking about, human?" Park Tae-ho looked out at the alien ships surrounding his home. His people, his family, 200 of them were dead now, killed to make a point. That was unacceptable. "We came here to find peace. We wanted to live quiet lives, grow food, dig metals from rocks, and forget about war. We thought we were done with fighting." His voice was still calm, but there was steel underneath it now. "You should not have killed our people, Commander. You really should not have done that." The alien ships moved closer to the station, preparing for invasion, but they did not see the hidden doors opening in the asteroid field around them. They did not notice the mining equipment that was changing shape and purpose. They did not understand that they had just attacked the wrong humans. On Kepler Station, 50,000 people prepared for war. They had tried to leave their old lives behind, but their old lives had found them anyway. The quiet time was over.